Now at 10, authorities in Miami investigate vandalism targeting American flags. Plus, a street light project update as the city of Joplin wants to shed some light on crime fighting in the community. And some students learn what it takes to run a coffee shop.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Miami, Oklahoma veterans group wants answers after American flags were vandalized. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. The flags have been placed around the city from Labor Day to 9/11. Vandalism was discovered as the flags were being removed. KOAM's Lonnie Walton takes us to Miami for that story.
Michael Robinson, our flag director, came in and said, "We've got a problem." I asked him what the problem was. He goes, "We got flags cut."
Veterans Chris Nida, American Legion Post 147 commander, and Flag Program Director Mike Robinson say it was painful when they found the 15 flags destroyed.
Like I said, men and women died for that flag, all the way back to the Constitutional Wars. I can't explain how I feel, sir.
And my thing is, I come from a big military family background, both sides of my family. My stepdad was at World War II. I have uncles that were in Korea.
The flags were placed along Main Street in Miami in honor of Labor Day.
We went to pick up some of the flags there on Main Street, real close to the middle of it, and I noticed that one was cut. At first I thought it had tore, but then we had 3 in a row there, they were cut.
The flag service also is a fundraiser for the Post, funding various initiatives.
Pays the bills here. That's first and foremost. It pays all the bills to cover our building. Then what's left over, we help veterans with what we're allowed to do.
They can't imagine who would destroy the flags. Now they want answers.
Just to know that fellow Americans would destroy our nation's flag is just, I can't understand. I can't fathom why somebody would want to do that.
Reporting in Miami, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The American Legion did file a report with the Miami Police Department. Anyone with information about the vandalism is asked to give them a call. Pleasant night out there weather-wise. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, kind of turned out to be a hot Monday, but a nice Monday for us today. Temperatures into the mid to upper 80s, depending on where you live. 87 was our high, started at 65, above our average high of 82 degrees. It looks pretty good right now. 72 in Joplin, 73 in Pittsburgh, 68 in Monette, Grand Lake sitting at 74, Parsons 75, Iola is checking in at 76 degrees, but we're pretty quiet. We obviously know we need some rain. We do have some chances, at least in the forecast, but nothing is going on out there right now. We have some thunderstorms central and western parts of Kansas, but those aren't going to make it here. So it looks actually pretty quiet for us tonight. 71 by 11, 66 by 7 a.m. Overnight low is 64, but it really heats up. We're going to be looking at that here in just a bit.
See you soon. City of Joplin is taking measures to make Joplin a safer place with more street lights around town. Locations for those new lights include 15th Street, Schifferdecker, and Prigmore. The assistant city manager of Joplin says in the areas they've added street lights already, they've seen a decrease in crime.
We continually evaluate our neighborhoods and our community areas for the installation of street lights and the addition of streetlights, and as new areas are developed, we'll add streetlights as well.
City of Joplin will accept feedback on other areas that need street lights online. Watered Gardens in Joplin digs into its annual Empty Bowls event. The event, held at the Joplin Greenhouse and Coffee Shop, serves as a way to care for and feed the hungry in the community. From now through Saturday, patrons can pre-order a pottery bowl handcrafted by local artists. Buyers will later enjoy a serving of soup and then get to take the bowls home. The money raised goes to help fund efforts to feed the community.
The money goes to 4 local nonprofits that are privately funded, and they all have a food component to their ministry. So this year's recipients are Mission Joplin, We Care of the 4 States, Hope Kitchen in Neosho, and Water Gardens Ministries.
This is the 12th year for that annual event. Covenant Harvest Church in Pittsburgh breaks ground on a new building today. That building, the Covenant Care Collaborative, also known as the C3 building, will expand the ministry's already existing services.
That the community of Christian believers are not just contained inside the four walls of this church building, that we really want to serve the community by laying down our lives and exposing to them the love of Jesus, and by that meeting some very basic and important needs that they and their families and their children have.
The Covenant Harvest Church is at 635 Frontage Road in Pittsburgh. Some Carthage sixth graders took a special trip to Hatcher's Coffee House today. The students were able to see what it takes to run a coffee service, and that's important for this reason. The students are part of the Gifted and Talented Education Services, or GATES, and they plan to launch their own coffee business called Brew Crew.
We are making coffee for teachers, since a lot of teachers like coffee, and if they don't have coffee in the morning, they get really angry. So I came up with the idea, and I was like, oh, this would be a perfect idea for them to get because they love coffee.
The Brew Crew will officially open shop on September 23rd. Mercy Park in Joplin celebrated a new addition to the Rotary Sculpture Garden today with this ribbon cutting ceremony. The latest edition, titled The Shape of a Woman, was sculpted by local artist Aston Stuvern. Stuvern says the design reflects a woman's ability to stand tall and on her own, no matter how fast her world is spinning.
We were excited that there was an opportunity to put a sculpture in. Lucky enough to find Aston, who is an old friend of mine. We grew up together, so that's an extra honor for me to be able to have her, but have a woman who's local and was able to create just a beautiful sculpture for us.
The garden now has 30 sculptures on permanent display by 14 renowned artists. The sculpture garden is open to the public during normal park hours. That's from sunrise to 11 p.m. Coming up, new court documents shed light on the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. And a Branson man will go to prison for the 2023 murder of a Joplin woman. New court documents in the apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump says cell phone data shows the armed suspect camped outside the golf course for nearly 12 hours yesterday before his arrest miles away. Manuel Mayorkas has the latest.
Keep walking! Newly released body camera footage shows the arrest of suspected gunman Ryan Wesley Routh on Interstate 95 after authorities say he attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump.
The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots.
Routh appeared in court Monday facing federal weapons charges in connection with Sunday's incident at Trump's West Palm Beach golf course.
A U.S. Secret Service agent walking the golf course perimeter saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line. After the agent fired a service weapon in the direction of the rifle, a witness saw a man later identified as Ralph fleeing the area in the tree line.
At the time, Trump was playing golf at the club near the 5th and 6th holes and was between 300 and 500 yards away from the suspect on the other side of a chain-link fence. Law enforcement sources say Ralph's car and license plate were photographed by someone who alerted police, leading to his arrest nearly 50 miles away. Trump was unharmed Sunday, but the second attempt on his life since mid-July raises new questions about the Republican presidential nominee's level of security.
I've had a conversation with the former president. The president is aware that he has highest levels of protection that the Secret Service is providing him.
Routh, a North Carolina man who lives in Hawaii, has a criminal record and has criticized Trump on social media. The FBI is now reviewing Routh's background, his online activity, and objects found at the scene. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
President Biden spoke with Trump on the phone today. Biden expressed his relief that the former president was safe, according to the White House, which described it as a cordial conversation. Trump, in a statement released by his campaign, said, quote, We had a very nice call. It was about Secret Service protection, end quote. A Branson, Missouri man will go to prison for the 2023 murder of a Joplin woman. Today, Nicholas Berry pled guilty to the second-degree murder of Maria Whitaker. Back on April 9th, 2023, Webb City authorities responded to the call of a disturbance on the 1000 block of West 1st Street. Officers found a 39-year-old woman from Joplin unresponsive. The victim, Whitaker, was pronounced dead at the hospital. Berry was originally charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action, and robbery in the first degree. He was sentenced today to 15 years in prison. A Newtonia man is in custody for child abuse after a 9-month-old boy was taken to the hospital unconscious. Jordan Bogus is charged with abuse or neglect of a child. According to the Newton County Sheriff's Office, they received a call Saturday about a child who wasn't breathing. EMS took that baby to Freeman in Joplin and later transferred him to Children's Mercy in Kansas City. Court documents reveal Bogus told deputies he tossed the child into the air to try to comfort him. However, he says he did not catch the boy. Authorities said Bogus later admitted to bear hugging the child until he quit screaming. The court documents reveal the infant has abusive head trauma, but full diagnosis might take weeks due to the boy's critical condition. The suspect is due in court October 1st for a bond hearing. JPD and the Joplin Fire Department are investigating a vacant building fire. It happened late last night, at a structure on East 7th and Indiana Street, across from Ewart Park. The building is a former transmission shop, and in the 1970s and 80s, it was home to the stereo buff. There is no power to that building. A little later, results of a new study says employees feel pressure to work when sick.
Plus, our temperatures are really going to heat up over the next few days. We're going to check that out coming up next.
Prearrangement, the thoughtful decision.
Reporter.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. A little bit on the warm side for the middle of September as our temperatures shot into the upper 80s. But boy, do we need some rain. It is so dry out there. We're in a moderate drought. Obviously none today. We haven't had any rain. Nothing measurable for the entire month of September. And today's the 16th, so it'd be nice to get some. We do have some chances in here later this week. 25.5 for the year, but we have a deficit of 8.5 inches of rain. Here's a nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Temperatures pleasant. Most of us are sitting low to mid 70s across the board, but our humidity has creeped up a little bit. Dew points are sitting into the mid 60s. So what that means for you is it feels sticky outside, and that's where we're going to sit as we go through the next couple days. All right, through the night, slide back. Mid 60s down to about 64 by morning. We have clear skies. We don't have really anything going on outside. We had some showers and thunderstorms central Missouri. Those died. We have some thunderstorms out central and western Kansas. Those aren't going to make it here. Let me show you why. Here's our upper level winds. Look how they shoot up into Canada and then drop down through Missouri. This is due to big dome of high pressure. So as long as this guy hangs out near us, it blocks the pattern up, even though we have storm systems moving in the western third of the country, but with high pressure, it keeps these systems kind of rotating up into Canada. Yeah, they're going to get closer to us. Yes, we'll get some rain chances in here later on this week, but we're just not going to have a storm system drive through the region, giving us widespread rain still for several days to go. Let me walk you through time. With that area of high pressure, it gets hotter. Mid 60s by morning, by noon, we go up into lower 80s, and I think most of us a notch or two hotter than what we saw today, about 89 or 90 degrees. Tomorrow night, mid 60s once again. Let's go into Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, a little bit hotter, 90, 91, 92 degrees. Now, by Wednesday night, we're going to be tracking a few thunderstorms to our west. As they push in, what happens? They fall apart. So we don't really have any good chances for rain. Now, that will start to switch once we get into Thursday, Friday, and also on Saturday. Day planner on your Tuesday, 66 to start, 83 by noon. High temp, 89 degrees. Let's go into the second half of the work week. Thursday mainly dry, but Thursday night, a few thunderstorms to our north. So a couple of these guys could scoot in. On Friday, we do get a front that kind of hangs out, so scattered thunderstorms, mainly along and north of I-44, which would be nice. And it kind of very similar situation on Saturday. We'll have a front, so we'll have chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms once again as we get into Saturday, and then also on Sunday. And then hopefully we'll cool down a little bit behind that because it gets kind of hot. 89 tomorrow, 91 on Wednesday, 94 Thursday, 96 on Friday. And we're going to have the humidity, so we are going to be talking about those heat indices are going to be up there, and chances for rain sticking around into the weekend. But we do cool down a bit early next week.
We desperately need that rain. Let's hope
we need the rain really bad.
Thanks, Doug. A lot of employees feel pressure to work while sick, it seems. A study by the University of South Florida found that many organizations have a culture where it's expected you'll come into the office even if you're not feeling so hot. The study found working while sick leads to lost productivity, mistreatment of coworkers, and can even push employees to leave the company. Coming up in sports, Pitt State football drops in the latest Division II rankings. Plus, Seneca softball squares off with Carl Junction for the second time this season. Brock Baldridge has those stories, those highlights, and more in sports.
Well, Missouri Southern football enters its 4th week of the regular season, but the Lions haven't been able to find any momentum after Saturday night's loss in St. Joe. Missouri Southern is now 0-3 on the season. Lions schedule lightens up a little bit, but it's another tough task as Southern welcomes in Northwest Missouri State in Joplin this Saturday. The Lions are still looking for win number 1. Here's what head coach Atiba Bradley had to say during the team's weekly press conference.
A little disappointed the way we came out. We weren't ourselves, and it showed up in the first half, and so we got it corrected. I think the variable that we're not putting into the equation is that we face really good football teams. Pitt's a really good football team. Mo West is going to win some games in this league, and so we're not going against any JV squads or anything like that.
We just got to prepare better, you know what I'm saying, and just be more consistent, stacking good plays. You know, we came out pretty strong that second half. I know you guys saw that. So if we could just be more consistent and stack days and make good plays and stop the run, I think we'll be all right.
CA coaches poll was released this morning, and Pitt State fell down a few spots. Pitt State falls from number 4 to number 10 in the country after the Gorillas lost to Emporia State last Saturday. Pitt State will look to get back in the win column this weekend when the Gorillas hit the road to face Washburn. So here's a look at the top 10 of this week's Division II football rankings. Quite the shakeup. Harding remains as the number 1 team in the country, but Grand Valley State goes in there at number 2 after Central Missouri lost last weekend. The Mules drop all the way to number 11, so Pittsburgh State now remains as the only team in the MIAA in the top 10. In Missouri, we go to Seneca this afternoon as the Indians host the Bulldogs. Each team is looking to turn their season around. Carl Junction and Seneca meet for the second time this season. Lady Bulldogs beat Seneca in their season opener, starting in the top of the first inning. CJ leads 2-0. Kylie Spencer places this perfectly down the line. That scores a run, and Spencer goes into second base with an RBI double. Later in the inning, Jasmine Blaney hits this one right back up the middle for an RBI single. Carl Junction scored 4 runs in the first inning. So bottom of the first, Callie Rhodes hammers this, and take a good look. You won't see it for long. An absolute bomb for a 2-run homer, cuts the lead in half, makes it a 4-2 ball game. We go to the third inning now, same score, Addie Ferris, nice piece of hitting here. 2-run single extends the Bulldogs lead, CJ now up 6-2. But Seneca, they won't go away that easy. Indians down 11-4, and it's Callie Rhodes again to dead center. See you later. Have a day. Her second homer of the game, solo bomb, makes it 11-5. We head to the final inning of the ball game. Kylie Spencer ends this one with a strikeout. Seneca puts up a great fight, but Carl Junction wins the game 14-5. Well, last Friday, we tallied our votes in our KOAM News Now Insta poll after our press box show on Fox 14. And our Performance of the Week winner is the Miami War Dogs, who beat the Veneta Hornets on Friday night by a final score of 41-0. The War Dogs are now 2-1 this season, Friday night's win puts them above 500. This week, Miami faces Aluga on their home field. Now, last time we talked, last Monday, I said Pitt State, and I'll take credit for this one. I said, if they can beat Emporia State, they could win that one. I jinxed it. But good news is Pitt State did beat Ferris State earlier in the season.
Right.
So when it comes to playoff time, that's going to pay really due dividends for the Gorillas.
There's just still an awful lot of season left, and they're still doing well. So we'll see how the rest goes. We'll be right back. Look at this. Tiger Cub Care students at Carthage's Mark Twain Elementary learned about fire safety today. Pre-K kiddos had the opportunity to learn from the Carthage Fire Department about staying safe during a fire emergency. Today's visit from the fire department is part of the school's Community Helpers Initiative. It's where local leaders come to talk to students about the importance of jobs within the community. And what kid or adult doesn't love to see a fire truck and talk to a firefighter?
I would have been pretty pumped to see that.
Yeah, you bet. The weather, it's going to be hot for a little while.
Yeah, it's going to be climbing up there. 89 for us tomorrow, 91 Wednesday. Look at this, mid, if not upper 90s late this week. We do finally have some rain chances. They're not the best, but they're there.
We need some. We need it to be widespread, and it'd be nice if it was heavy. That's not likely, I guess. Final sports note.
Cardinals get the win in Busch Stadium tonight. Meanwhile, the Royals had the lead, but they blew that one to the Detroit Tigers, so we'll see if Kansas City can get the win tomorrow night.
It's coming down to the wire. The Royals need
to
win. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m., and let's make it a great tomorrow.